Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Jo, this is Joey Sewy, and today we have a favourites video. So I did my first favourites video back in November and it was really well received. This channel basically didn't exist in December because life was too busy, so I'm back in January to do it all over again, but of course now we're on my January favourites. I'm going to follow the same format that I followed before, so I've got the same categories. And let me know in the comments below if there's anything you would like me to cover that I'm not covering, or anything I'm covering that you're just really not interested in. Let's get into it. So my first category is my favourite Instagram tag or post. It is quite easy to pick this month. It is hashtag GBSB and hashtag GreatBritish SewingBee. Oh yes, it's coming back. The first episode is going to be on air in England on the 12th of February and I am very excited because it's just the best thing on television in my opinion. So if you follow those hashtags you will find out all about the Great British Sewing Bee. I'm sorry international viewers, I don't know how or if or when you're going to be able to get access to the Great British Sewing Bee, but yeah, I can't contain myself. One thing to know about, I've got an itchy nose today, one thing to know about the GBSB tag, it is by far the more posted to, but it also stands, if you look at the tag, for, let me have a look, get bad, stay bad, which is apparently something to do with really bulking up and male bodybuilding. So you're going to get a mix of stuff on hashtag GBSB. There will be Great British Sewing Bee, there will be very well developed men. Just so you know, it's one of those things. I'm sure they're wondering why the hell they've got all the sewing stuff, and you can take or leave the things that come along with it. So the long form Great British Sewing Bee, it's only got 100 or so tags to it, but obviously it's more filtered. So there you go. That's my favourite Instagram for this month. Getting on to my favourite YouTube video. This is a shameless plug. There, I've said it. My favourite YouTube video for this month is not on this channel, it's not quite that bad, but it's on a channel called Duelling Designs, and it is a recording of a live video cast that I did with them, an interview with me. So the show is called That's Sewing Blab, and it is broadcast every Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, I believe it is, which in England happens to be midnight. So poor old me had to stay up until midnight last Tuesday, about 5 days ago now, just about caught up on my sleep. But the beautiful, wonderful ladies on there invited me on for an interview, which was surreal, because no one's ever asked me to do that before. It was a huge honour, it was very exciting, and yeah, I rambled on for a long time. I was worried, like, how are you going to fill an hour talking to me about me? Surely that it's going to be a really dull, silent hour. But no, actually I just went everywhere. Yeah, so if you would like to catch a really long form video with yours truly, then head on over there. Of course there'll be a link in the comments down below, and you can see the general channel name here. One thing to know is they don't just do interviews with me. They've been doing this live cast for, I think I was episode 134. So there are 133 people other than me, or episodes at least, and mostly they are interviewing other people that you can tune into. And they have had pretty much anybody that you could be interested in sewing. They have had the marvellous Heather Lou from Closet Case Files. They've had a guy called David Page Coffin, who wrote a really well-renowned shirt making book that I got for my birthday last year. They've had him on. They've just had everybody pretty much I've ever heard of through other sewing podcasts and things on YouTube. So I was just taken aback that they asked me because of the kind of people that they have on there. But if you want to go, I would really recommend having a look at their channel. that when they do the live casts, they do it on a website called crowdcast.com. So they don't live cast direct onto YouTube. It's usually on a Wednesday that they don't edit the broadcast, but they've kind of technically transformed it into a YouTube video and uploaded it with notes and stuff. So you will get each Wednesday, you will get a new episode, and I recommend going along and seeing who you're interested in. So there you go. That is my favourite YouTube video for this month. Favourite new pattern. Last time I couldn't narrow it down to one, and this time I can't narrow it down to one either. I've picked 3. The first one is a poncho from Maker's Atelier. I've never sewn anything from Maker's Atelier before, and I vaguely knew the name, but that's all I knew. So when I saw this pattern, I went along and had a look at their website, and it is achingly stylish. It is really beautifully curated, and the patterns are so coherent, and you know, you can see the style in there. So if it's a style that you get, you're gonna love it, and if it's a style that you don't like, then maybe you're never going to find a pattern from them that you like. I mean, I don't want to say that, but you know, it's one of those that's got such a strong identity, and the way it's presented is beautiful. So they have individual patterns to buy, which are quite expensive. They're £25, so they're not cheap. But they also do a twice yearly magazine which has a pattern in it, or sometimes 2, and I think this one has 2. And when you buy the magazine, you get a full pattern. So I believe you get an envelope and you get the paper as well. So you know, you get something for your money. Now the magazine costs £15. If you like magazines, I would think that you're going to enjoy it, because looking at the production values of their website, it looks like they'd have a really high production value on their magazine as well. As I say, I'm not speaking from experience, but the impression I got, as you can tell, was really good. So this poncho, you will have seen a picture here. I liked it, really. Maybe not because there's anything all that unique about it as a poncho, but at the moment it's January, I'm cold. In terms of the top half of my body, all I'm into wearing is something cuddly and furry, which is basically what this is. It's so fluffy, this jumper. I didn't make it, I bought it, but it is just so cuddly. My boys treat me like a teddy bear when I'm wearing it, which is a great advantage because I just get all the cuddles. And that is where my head's at in terms of getting dressed. So a poncho, which is essentially a rectangle for your front, a rectangle for your back, and this one, go back a little bit, it buttons, you'll see from the picture, but it buttons up underneath the armpit, so it's really also very simple to sew, but really nice and cocooning. If you want a transitional garment, either in terms of seasons but also in terms of your sewing skill, where you don't have to make a coat because they can be quite intimidating, although they're not as hard as you might think, but you want some outerwear, poncho is perfect because it's simple to make, but it will cover you up and it will keep you warm, so it will achieve that. So I liked the poncho, maybe not because this one stands out, although it looks lovely, but because I liked the idea of a poncho, and you know, this one is a nice one. Second thing that I picked out was the Sara dungarees from Sew Over It. I'm one of probably maybe only 2 people in the sewing universe who's actually never sewn a Sew Over It pattern. Probably more than 2 of us, but I often do feel like I must be in the minority with that because they're so popular. Often it's just because they're really dress heavy and I don't wear dresses, or they're really formal dressing heavy, and although I do sometimes dress formally, it's not the majority of what I sew or wear. So often what they put out and what I need or want don't align, that's why. But with these dungarees, I just thought she'd really got it right in my view, because they're really pared back and simplified, and that's what the pattern description says. So they are dungarees, they have a bib front, they have a back, but they have no fastenings here. And if you remember my Jenny dungarees that I made earlier in the year, which is a closet case patterns pattern, I hacked the top and I made it more complicated technically, but in terms of kind of the look, I simplified it because I also took the fastenings out myself and I changed the fastenings at the back. So I guess I was moving it in a style direction that she's also done. So I really liked how pared back it was. As with a lot of dungarees patterns, you can also use this as a trouser pattern, which I think is really cool. And I liked the wide leg of the dungarees as well. So I really like that one. And if you haven't already got onto the dungarees bandwagon and you fancy it, this is quite a good safe way in. It's not too dungareesy, not too workweary if that's what was putting you off. So yeah, that is the pattern. There is a third pattern, which is a simplicity top. I can't remember the number, but it's down here. And I liked it because it's like this top. So it's like a dolman sleeve, which is like really big armpits. The sleeve is grown on, so you get a really huge bat wing kind of shape. And so I was browsing through, I wasn't really looking for that kind of thing, but I saw it and I thought, now that pattern, if I want to recreate this top, which I would like to, that pattern would be really good for that because it gives the dolman sleeve shape. So I just thought I'd throw that in as a third one. Moving on, my favourite me-made garment for January. This is not the thing I've made necessarily, it's the thing I'm using or liking the most that I have made. So I could have made it any time. I'm wearing them. I'm gonna move you down because it's my Moji jogging bottoms. I made them towards the back end of last year. Don't know how well you can see them. They're purple and they're super simple. They have an elasticated waist. Oh yes. They have pockets. They have cat hair on them, but they have stitching outline on the pockets. And I'm basically coming straight back up. Hello. I'm in hibernation mode, and so comfortable, stretchy trousers are really fantastic. These ones are quite good because they've got a little bit of detail in them. They're a slightly less usual colour because they're purple, so I can also leave the house without feeling like I look like I'm wearing pyjamas. So that's why they're fitting into what's going on in my life at the moment. So that's my favourite me made. Where are we now? Okay, favourite purchase. Here it is. I love this. It is an octopus necklace. Of course it is. How have I lived this long without an octopus necklace in my life? I don't know. Yeah, I just love it. It's not from the designer Tati Devine, which I'm a bit ashamed about because it is basically a copy of some of her work, but I couldn't afford the original, so this is an eBay copy. I'm sorry. But yeah, go and have a look at Tati Devine's website because her stuff is gorgeous, and things do pop up on eBay as well, so you can get a genuine item. It's made of perspex and it is basically, let me see if I can get it to focus on that and not me. Yeah, it's made of perspex and it's basically cut out of perspex and on a chain, and it just makes me laugh. So I love it. It's like, why have you got an octopus necklace? Well, because I like it. There's no other reason to have an octopus necklace in my life, and I think it looks really good against this top and against light coloured tops too. So that is my favourite purchase of this month. Okay, we've got 2 categories left. We have got my favourite podcast or radio programme. I've got 2 things for you. The first is basically a track of white noise. It's a track that's an hour long. I think it was free to download from Google Play, and it is the sound of waves crashing on a beach. It saves my life because, as you probably will know, and I think I've mentioned it, I've got children. If you know anything about the rest of my life, I'm studying at university. These 2 things don't work brilliantly well together unless you can find a way to shut out the noise. So, large headphones, white noise, book, brain works. It's amazing. If I don't have the headphones and a non-distracting but covering noise, then my brain's constantly getting pulled off elsewhere when I'm trying to read. I'll hear some noise somewhere, and even though I know it's perfectly well being dealt with and I don't go and do anything about it, my brain just kind of goes over there for a moment and then I'm not concentrating. So yeah, white noise track. If you've never tried using white noise and you need or want to focus, maybe it's when you're sewing, I'd really recommend it because it works fantastically for me, really like magic. The second one is not white noise. It is an audiobook that I recently listened to. I got it for free because I downloaded it from my beautiful, beautiful public library using the Borrow Box app, but your library may use a different app. The book's called The Muse by Jessie Burton. and I think it was published in the last couple of years, possibly even last year. It's her second novel. I read the first was pretty good, although I was a little bit disappointed because there'd been a lot of hype and I felt like there was only maybe 2/3 of the story there that I would have liked to read, but it was still good. I'd still say it's worth reading. The first one's called The Miniaturist. But The Muse, what I loved about it was a lot of the atmosphere of the story is based around descriptions of what creative impulses feel like, about where the passion comes from, trying to put into words where that inspiration and innovation and desire, absolute need to make something comes from. So I loved those descriptions because we do creative things, and yeah, and it really spoke to me in those terms, feeling and hearing about. It's based on painting and writing, so one of the characters is a painter, more than one actually, and one of the characters is a writer, and it's told through those two points of view. And yeah, I really loved how it captured that, so I would recommend it. It's about somewhere around 10 hours long as an audiobook, but of course with an audiobook you can do more than one thing at once. And the final thing, I'm gonna have to go and get something, wait there. So final thing is my favourite gadget of the month. Now I've not been doing a lot of sewing, so I've not really been using lots of gadgets, but I have been doing a lot of reading. So here is my favourite gadget of the month. It's quite shiny, isn't it? I came to the point where I needed to wear glasses last year, I was told, and initially I resisted it because it means I'm getting old. And to be honest, there were a few scenarios where I felt like I was benefiting from it, but a lot of the time it's still really marginal. I didn't feel like I was benefiting from my glasses, but for good or for ill, the last couple of months, in fact the last month, I've felt that I really need these when I'm reading particularly, and they're helping my eyes not to be tired when I'm driving. So I have come to love them. I keep taking them off because the reflection you're getting is really not great, I don't think, but I like, I can't stop the reflection, I actually like the look of them with my new short hair, so there you go. So yeah, I'm actually, rather than just begrudgingly accepting my glasses, I'm really enjoying wearing them now, and I'm wearing them sometimes where I don't need to. So this is all good. So I'm going to take them off because that reflection is quite distracting. Might have to do something about that in the future. So that is my gadget of the month, and that concludes all my favourites for January. I hope you enjoyed that. I would love to know your favourites in the comments down below. That is my most interesting thing. I just love hearing from you guys. So please do tell me your favourites, either in the categories that I've used or in your own categories, and I will look forward to hearing them. If you haven't watched anything else on my channel, or if you would like some inspiration, something will pop up here. If you're not a subscriber, it would be really nice to have you in my little Joey Sewy family, so please click subscribe if you feel able to, and of course you can ring the bell to get notifications. Bye for now.